Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in Matthew chapter 8, verses 18 through 34. Now, when Jesus saw a large crowd around him, he gave orders to go to the other side of the lake. Then an expert in the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus said to him, "Foxes have dens, birds in the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another of the disciples said to him, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." But Jesus said to him, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead." As he got into the boat, his disciples followed him, and a great storm developed on the sea, so that the waves began to swamp the boat, but he was asleep. So they came and woke him up, saying, "Lord, save us, we are about to die." But he said to them, "Why are you cowardly, you people of little faith?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and it was dead calm. And the men were amazed and said, "What sort of person is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him." When he came to the other side, to the region of the Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were extremely violent, so that no one was able to pass by that way. They cried out, "Son of God, leave us alone. Have you come here to torment us before the time?" A large herd of pigs was feeding some distance from them. Then the demons begged him, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." And he said, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep slope into the lake and drowned in the water. The herdsmen ran off, went into the town, and told everything that had happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the entire town came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. So you have the crowds starting to gather around Jesus. Some people thinking that they can profit off of Jesus. Some people not necessarily wanting to go with Jesus until a more opportune time, and but his disciples following him, coming across the sea, and the lake in the Gadarenes there. I think that's the Sea of Galilee. And exercising control over the water, which is cool. In the same way that the Lord used Moses to split the Red Sea, that is, God exercised control over the Red Sea, that is, the waters. So too, God displays his power here and calms the Sea of Galilee. And it was particularly bad because these men were fishermen, so they knew when they could get through the storm and when they couldn't, and that they couldn't is a testament to how bad it was. And then Jesus destroys the enemies of God, that is, these demons, by casting them into the sea, mimicking the story of the Exodus, where the enemies of God, that is, the Egyptians, are cast into the Red Sea. So you have there Jesus fulfilling the prophecy of a prophet like Moses coming. Let's see what Guzik says. When Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave a command to depart to the other side. Jesus increased in popularity, yet he did not follow the crowds or even seek to make them bigger. In some ways, he seemed to avoid the great multitudes about him. Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go, with the miracles associated with the ministry of Jesus. Following him might have seemed more glamorous than it really was. Jesus perhaps received many spontaneous offers like this. I wonder if this man thought, well, now I'm a scribe. If I join that company, I shall be a leader. I perceive that they are only fishermen, the bulk of them, and if I come in amongst them, I shall be a great acquisition to that little band. I shall no doubt be the secretary. Perhaps he may have thought that there was something to be made out of such a position. There was one who thought so. Spurgeon. Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Jesus didn't tell the man, no, you can't follow me, but he told him the truth, without painting a glamorized version of what it was like to follow him. This is the opposite of techniques used by many evangelists today. But Jesus wanted the man to know what it would really be like. In the immediate context of Jesus' ministry, the saying does not mean that Jesus was penniless but homeless. The nature of his mission kept him on the move and would keep his followers on the move. Yeah. The reason this man turned away from Jesus was because Jesus lived a very simple life by faith, trusting his Father for every need and without reserves of material resources. This is just the kind of thing that would make Jesus more attractive to a truly spiritual man. Here's a man who lives completely by faith and is satisfied with few material things. I should follow him and learn from him. Yeah, and then, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. This man is asking for a indefinite period of time. This man wanted to follow Jesus, but not just yet. He knew it was good and that he should do it, but he felt there was a good reason why he could not do it now. If the scribe was too quick in promising, this disciple was too slow in performing. Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. Jesus pressed the man to follow him now, and clearly stated the principle that family obligations or any other obligation must not be put ahead of following Jesus. Jesus must come first. Yeah. Anyone who loves father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. Suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea. The Sea of Galilee is well known for its sudden, violent storms. The severity of this storm was evident in the fact that the disciples, many of whom were experienced fishermen, were terrified. Though the disciples were desperate, Jesus was asleep. It must have seemed strange to them that he could sleep in the midst of such a great tempest. And at once, it shows how Jesus was fully man, and that he was grabbing sleep where he could. There met him 2 demon-possessed men. The other gospel accounts mention only one of these men. This must be because there was one that was far more severe in his state of demonic possession, having many demons. Yeah. What have we to do with you? The demons tormenting these poor men wanted to be left alone. They didn't want Jesus to interfere with their horrible work. This is the old cry, mind your own business. Do not interfere with our trade. Let us alone and go elsewhere. Devils never like to be interfered with, but if the devils have nothing to do with Jesus, he has something to do with them. If you cast us out, permit us to go away into the herd of swine. The demons wanted to enter the swine, Because these evil spirits are bent on destruction and hate to be idle, the devil is so fond of doing mischief that he will rather play at a small game than stand out. Yet we also notice that the demons can't even afflict pigs without the permission of God. And if a legion of devils had not power over a herd of hogs, much less have they over Christ's flock of sheep, saith Tertullian. When they had come out, they went into the herd of swine. The whole herd of swine ran violently and perished in the water. There's nothing really comparable to this in the Bible, the casting of demons from a human into animals, yet Jesus had a good reason to allow this. The fact that the demons immediately drove the swine to destruction helps explain why Jesus allowed the demons to enter the pigs, because he wanted everyone to know what the real intention of these demons was. They wanted to destroy the men, just as they destroyed the pigs. Because men are made in the image of God, they could not have their way as easily with the men, but their intention was just the same, to kill and destroy. Another reason why the devils were sent into the pigs was to conclusively show that they had been indeed cast out of the men. Told them everything, and the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and they begged him to depart from their region. We would think that the people of the region would be happy that these two demon-possessed men had been delivered. Perhaps they were more interested in the pigs than in people. Certainly the delivering power of Jesus did not make all men feel comfortable. Carrying on, Psalm chapter 10, verses 1 through 15. Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you pay no attention during times of trouble? The wicked arrogantly chase the oppressed. The oppressed are trapped by the schemes the wicked have dreamed up. Yes, the wicked man boasts because he gets what he wants. The one who robs others curses and rejects the Lord. The wicked man is so arrogant, he always thinks, God won't hold me accountable. He doesn't care. He is secure at all times. He has no regard for your commands. He disdains all his enemies. He says to himself, I will never be upended, because I experience no calamity. His mouth is full of curses and deceptive, harmful words. His tongue injures and destroys. He waits in ambush near the villages. In hidden places he kills the innocent. His eyes look for some unfortunate victim. He lies in ambush in a hidden place, like a lion in a thicket. He lies in ambush, waiting to catch the oppressed. He catches the oppressed by pulling in his net. His victims are crushed and beaten down. They are trapped in his sturdy nets. He says to himself, God overlooks it. He does not pay attention. He never notices. Rise up, Lord. O God, strike him down. Do not forget the oppressed. Why does the wicked man reject God? He says to himself, You will not hold me accountable. You have taken notice, for you always see one who inflicts pain and suffering. The unfortunate victim entrusts his cause to you. You deliver the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and evil man. Hold him accountable for his wicked deeds, which he thought you would not discover. The Lord rules forever. The nations are driven out of his land. Lord, you have heard the request of the oppressed. You make them feel secure because you listen to their prayer. You defend the fatherless and oppressed, so that mere mortals may no longer terrorize them. Oh, whoops. Read too many. Oh well. Yeah, and that's a tough one. The Lord ultimately gives each man agency over what he does. But ultimately there will be a reckoning for the ways in which we've chosen to act over the years. And if we've chosen to act justly or wickedly. This wicked man takes the long-suffering nature of God, that is, that he doesn't experience calamity now or judgment for his actions now, and ascribes it to God being indifferent. towards the wicked man's actions. But God is not indifferent. He does take notice, and ultimately there will be a reckoning. Yeah, by God in the last day. Yeah, and rather than use the time allotted to him to repent of what he's done, he instead adds wickedness to wickedness with a mouth full of curses, ambushing the innocent, and beating down his victims. The presence of God is the joy of his people, but any suspicion of his absence is distracting beyond measure. It is not the trouble, but the hiding of our Father's face which cuts to the quick. From Spurgeon. We immediately recognize that anyone who renounces the Lord is sinful, yet the psalmist here puts the one who does not seek God and the one who does not think about God, God is in none of his thoughts, in the same category as the one who renounces the Lord. Men do not seek God. This is a great sin. Men do not think about God. This also is a great sin. Man has obligations to God as his creator and sovereign, and it is a sin to neglect them. Man commits these sins because of his proud countenance, ignoring God in an expression of our independence and perceived equality or superiority to him. A brazen face and a broken heart never go together. Honesty shines in the face, but villainy peeps out at the eyes. From Spurgeon. His ways are always prospering. Here the psalmist protested to God. Not only did the wicked man seem to enjoy constant prosperity, but he did so because God's judgments are far above, out of his sight. We can imagine the psalmist thinking, if only God would demonstrate his judgment to this wicked man, he would change his ways. This may sound like a complaint against God, and in some sense is, yet it should more so be seen as complete confidence in God's rule and authority. The psalmist recognized that the wicked could never prosper unless God allowed it, so he appealed to God to not allow it. We are impressed at how often the wicked speech of men, which is often today regarded as no sin at all, is regarded as sin in Psalms. Cursing, lying, threatening, and troubling, and evil speech are all destructive. They flow from one who does not believe that God will hold him or her accountable. He wants no prophet to teach him, no priest to atone for him, no king to conduct for him. He needs neither a Christ to redeem, nor a Spirit to sanctify him. He believes no providence, adores no creator, and fears no judge. He murders the innocent. Another characteristic of the wicked man is seen in how he is a bully, focusing his violence against the weak, the innocent, the helpless, the poor. He isn't manful or honorable enough to openly fight those who might effectively fight back. Why do the wicked renounce God? The psalmist answered his own question in the next lines. The wicked renounce God because they say in their heart that God will not require an account. The long-suffering of God, instead of leading such one to repentance, only hardens him in his iniquity. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, he thinks it will not be executed at all. From Horn. And then finally, Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 7 and 8. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. This will bring healing to your body and refreshment to your inner self. Yeah, if we think we're wholly complete and sufficient in and of ourselves, then we won't seek outside ourselves for teaching or wisdom or anything of that nature. I think it's on the border, well, lives in the city of pride, this wise in your own eyes. Yeah. Because if we do seek the teachings of God, it will bring healing to our body and refreshment to your inner self. And that it helps to quiet disturbances in our life, and helps us to be at peace with God and man. So, do not be wise in your own eyes. Be not puffed up with vain conceit of thine own wisdom, as if that were sufficient for the conduct of all thine affairs without direction or assistance from God, or without the advice of others. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. This is the natural result of trusting God. As we trust him, we come to know him better, leading to natural reverence and awe. As we trust him, we are drawn more to God and further from evil. It will be health to your flesh. A life of surrender and trust in God has real benefits to the health of the trusting one. It gives a greater sense of peace and strength that one would not have apart from a life of trust and surrender to God. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day.